I'm joined now by the president of CIWEM, Niki Roach. Niki, we heard earlier from Terry about the importance of collaboration across disciplines to achieve these goals in terms of water or climate change. What is CIWEM doing to encourage that collaboration amongst its 10,000 members and also bring new people on board?
So my theme for the year that I've chosen is Everything is Connected. And I've chosen that because I feel really passionately that if you think about things through a kind of systems lens, then you can really start to bring quite a lot of innovation into the sector and think differently really about things. And so for me, that's kind of CIWEM's role really, is to try and facilitate those kind of conversations through some of our more formal routes. We've got technical panels where we bring together experts from regulators and water companies and private organisations and local authorities. They're having conversations at a really technical high level to try and shape policy, through to events with joint institutions. So the incoming president of the Institution of Civil Engineers joined me this year for my induction. So really trying to facilitate conversations and grow networks through a range of different organisations to try and get the best possible outcomes really.
And how have you been able to promote that kind of collaboration this year when it's been so hard to meet up?
Yeah, it's definitely created a new set of challenges, Tom, but I think also, it sounds a bit trite, but some genuine opportunities. So CIWEM's aspiration is to be digital first. I think that's unquestionably been speeded up by the current situation we find ourselves in. But you mentioned, we're an international institution, and I think we have to do as much as possible to learn from our collective international experience, and actually being more digital and using those new forms of technology will enable us to do that better.
What about the business about getting new people on board? What can you do there?
Yeah, so I think, again, we've got to think about how CIWEM is really inclusive and represents the communities that we serve. And a lot of the messages that we are hearing around climate change and global resilience, actually we need to embrace our existing members, but we also really need to think about what new skill sets do we need in order to make sure that we can communicate those messages really effectively to drive change. So actually there's a real opportunity for us here to think about using our digital approach to bring people who may have never even thought about CIWEM into the organisation.
You mentioned digital, and that's often considered to be the forte of the younger generation, a generation which is likely to be hard hit by climate change. So what are you doing to inspire the younger professionals?
So I love the word inspire. I think that's really important. And I think back to my own experience and being 10 and being inspired by Blue Peter and getting my copy of the Blue Peter Green Book. And here I am 30 something years later, and this is the job that I'm doing because I was inspired at such a young age. So our job, I think, is to work out how to take if you like, a generation of individuals who've heard Greta speak and who've seen Extinction Rebellion and are now saying, okay, so what do I do? How do I turn my passion into a solution? And that's where I think we have a real role. What we can say is, this is the place, this is the sector. We want the absolute brightest and best and most passionate to turn their skills towards this sector. And that's, I think, our role, absolutely.
Your membership is international and represents all aspects of water management and beyond. Can you outline what water management means around the world?
For us, it means an all-encompassing approach. So not just thinking about water resources or thinking about sanitation in silos, but really, again, thinking about at a systems level how everything really is connected together. And for me personally, I think as we start to think about the lens of the circular economy, so really not just thinking about the resources that we have, but actually linking that into how are we restorative and how do we design out waste and how do we link that to our economic models, then I think we have a really exciting opportunity to genuinely change the paradigm and create a future that is different and more not just sustainable but restorative than we have at the moment.
I know you're a supporter of the charity Water Aid. Indeed, you went out to Burkina Faso to see some of their work, and you have a past in the water industry here. What have you seen both overseas and in the UK that gives you hope in terms of water resilience?
In the UK, you hear about water companies thinking about their approaches to abstraction. So Affinity Water are putting an end to all unsustainable abstractions from chalk aquifers, particularly important because 10% of the world's chalk streams sit within Affinity Water's region. that feels really quite aspirational and bold, and it's going to take more than just a water company to do that. You can't reduce 200 million litres worth of demand a day without customers using less water. So it's going to have to be a joined up approach. That gives me hope that companies are prepared to make those bold statements. And I think more internationally, what I saw in Burkina Faso was the importance of really strong local leadership and really equipping individuals and communities to be able to solve challenges at a local level. People are always the solution to these problems. It's not technology, it's people and human connection that will work us out of some of the difficulties that we face. And that's why I'm excited and why I'm really inspired by what CIWEM can do.